Hi everyone. In this lecture we are going to talk about arrays with structured data. Generally you'll use NumPy to work with very large numeric arrays because that is what is NumPy's strength. But you can also use NumPy with structured data. So here we have a name list. These are all the four names. They're students. They have student IDs. And they have scores as well. And let's go ahead and let's store all of this data in a structured manner. How can we do that? I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to call it students underscore data. And I'm going to call the numpy.zeros method. And I'm going to say, okay, the number 4 is going to indicate the shape of the array. It indicates that it is a one-dimensional array with 4 records. Now, whenever you want to create a structured data, after the shape you need to specify the data type. So the data type is going to be a dictionary of names as well as the formats. So what are going to be the names? So I'm going to provide names. The names are going to be a tuple, which is going to be name. And then it's going to be student ID. Then it's going to be score, finally. Let's just hit enter. We have formats as well. Just provide a space there. There we go. So for the formats, what do we want? For the name, I'm going to provide U10. U is UTF. It's a character set or character code. It's a character type. 10 refers to a 10 character string. So I'm going to say U10 for the name. What about the student ID? I'm going to provide it as I4. I4 is short for integer 4 bit, which refers to an integer of type 32 signed integer. Right? That is the student ID. For the score, I'm going to provide F8. F is floating point numbers, and F8 refers to 64-bit floating point number. And that's it, basically. Let's take a look at the students' data. Students' data. And there we go. So it's a one-dimensional array, and all of these values are there. So we wanted 3, we wanted 4 values, and in each value we have one name, a student ID, and a score. You can see that the student ID is 0 because it's an integer, but the score is 0. It indicates a floating point number, but the name is an empty string. Why is it an empty string? Now, the reason that it is an empty string is that NumPy knows that the name column is a string. So when we use np.zeros to initialize a string column, it will simply set it to an empty string. That's what actually the zeros is going to do for us. Now, let's go ahead and let's assign values to the matrices by specifying the name of the column to just end up with a structured NumPy array. So if I say students underscore data, just copy this. So we have 3 columns. We have the name column, and I'm going to set it to the name variable that we have in the cell number 2. We have the student ID column, which I'm going to set it to the student ID variable in the cell number 2. So student ID. Okay, let me just provide the other one. And we have score, the one which is inside the brackets, that's the column name, right? That's something that we know. And the one that we assign it to is that variable in the cell 2. If I run that, it is computed. Let's take a look at our students' data. If I take a look at it, what do we have? We have a one-dimensional array with 1, 2, 3, and 4 values. Alucard, Saifa, Belmont, and Vlad. We can index this using the arrays. So if I say name, it is going to give us the first row, which is going to contain all the names. We can grab all their scores as well. We can also grab their student IDs. ID, there we go. Now, since we have the knowledge of pandas, we know that the NumPy array here functions very much like a pandas data frame. The NumPy array containing structured data can be accessed using indices as well. Now, this is like using the strings, right? Then column names. But we can access them using indices like integers. So if I say 1, this is going to give me the first row. This is going to be the second row, is it? So we are going to have Saifa 222 and 9856. This is the item with the index of 1, which is going to be the second item. We can grab the item with an index of 3, which is going to be the last item. Now, to grab any specific value from these tuples, we can add another index as well. So let's say from the first row, which has an index of 0, what do I want to grab? So what do I want to grab from there? Let's provide 0. Let's say I want to grab the name. So I'm just going to provide the name. It's going to be Alucard. Let's just mix and match this combination. Students data. Let's say from the row with an index of 2, we want to grab the score column. And that is 99.89. So 2 is going to be this one. There we go. Structured data can be indexed using Boolean arrays as well. And this is the last thing that we're going to do in this lecture. So using Boolean arrays. What are Boolean arrays? Arrays that we use Boolean arrays to index into. Just like aside from writing 0 and then something else, we just provide a Boolean expression. And let's say students data score. I want to grab the score for anyone who is greater than 85. Now this is going to be the Boolean condition. All the scores which are greater than 85. What do I want to grab? What kind of data I want to grab if this Boolean condition is met? What kind? I want to grab the name. So we just got these 3 names. That's it for this lecture. See you in the next one.